everybody. I know it's been a while since I talked to y'all, but it has been a rough week. Okay. I got the norovirus. I didn't know anything about it until I got it. I had heard about it, but when I tell y'all that it's something y'all don't want, I still am the kind of person I wear my mask on the subway. Whenever I'm on it, once I get down to the train, I don't wear it as much in class. Now, see, that's where I failed because that's where I got it because a lot of the kids at school were out with it. Y'all, it is no joke. I don't think I've ever been that sick in my adult life. Now, granted, I never got COVID during COVID. Um, I'm sure that there are worse forms of sickness. And I'm such a germaphobe, but when I tell you that thing is nothing to play with, and there's too many strains for them to control, it is nothing to play with. Okay, I, vomiting, and I hate to be crass, diarrhea, nausea, body aches, all of this stuff came down on me Tuesday night, and I was like, I thought it was food poisoning. I thought I had. I promise you, I threw up everything I must have ate that week, like since Sunday, and I still don't have an appetite, so I'm still not 100%, and I'm feeling queasy. So I couldn't go to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today, I still don't feel great. Like I'm on the mend. But anyway, I just put a PSA out there to be careful and make sure you're wearing your mask around people because they were like, it's highly contagious. And these were things that I had heard, but I was always, because I never really got out of the COVID mode completely. I just felt like I was okay. And they were like, alcohol sprays don't typically take away the way it lays on surfaces and sheets. So yesterday I had to, wash everything. I have Lysol, but I don't necessarily keep Lysol in my car. I need to now. But anyway, that being said, Thursday, Thursday, I didn't barf once after barfing all day, all 24 hours Wednesday. Like I have never been that sick. And I told myself if by 3 p.m. on Thursday, if I had not barfed once, I was probably in the clear and could still go see Othello on Broadway. And yes, I did go. And I kept my mask on. I was sitting beside this old couple. But when they came up, I remembered, oh gosh, why does I had taken it off my face for a second? But I think thought I put it on because I thought he was gonna be German. I feel a little bad. But he was a pleasant old man. Anyway, I was in the nosebleed. Now, the nosebleed, the very tippy top. Okay. And let me tell you something, that was the best place for me because I had space. I had brought my binoculars. And I'm just gonna say this. Denzel don't have no business being that fine at 70. Othello, I reread it over the past month because I wanted to know, and I knew it was going to be in Old English. You know what I mean? So, like, I wanted to make sure I understood it. So I had reread it so I could follow the play, and I'm glad I did. Because I could tell a lot of people didn't understand. And considering, never mind, I'm going to say that for later. Denzel, the fact that he could play Othello at 20 and also at 70, and Denzel did not dye his hair, okay? He still had his, like, being the silver fox that he is, still had his like grays just straight, nice line up. Because let me tell you something, I'm a sucker for a Caesar, a low cut Caesar with waves, okay? And it's still believable. He's in the scene with like some 20, 30-year-old white woman playing Desdemona, because that's his wife in the play. And I'm like, this is still believable. I would definitely still think it was believable to be with a man like Denzel, and he's still playing the same part. And he acts like he does in the movies. So I was actually glad that, I can't even say my nosebleed was a bad scene. I really can't. Because, Broadway's smaller than like a concert, much smaller. But it was so incredible. You already know the ending, but the acting was good. I think Candy Burris produced part of it, and Ty Tucker. And you could tell that they were playing black music in between intermission before, and that's honestly what made me feel good. So, shout out to them. But it was so good. And Denzel is so fucking good. I can die happy. I'm 37 and can die happy. I got to see Denzel, my first ever Broadway play. And it'll probably be my only one. I have no desire to really go to Broadway the way other people do and pay all that money, but something that's going to be on Disney Plus later. But to see Denzel Washington act and do Othello, hello and good morning. And when I got those close-ups on the binoculars, I was like, damn, he's fine. And I only use my binoculars for when Denzel was talking. Um, and because I was familiar with the play, I knew when to expect it. That is the greatest actor that ever fucking lived. Nobody said it like him. Let me tell you how good somebody has to be. Whenever I've seen people play Malcolm X in anything, you know how like you see people might do good renditions of Martin Luther King. Now they just put anybody in the movie and put a lace front, fake cut hair, like crazy shit. Um, but nobody's ever done him that well that it can't be done, except for Martin Luther King himself. Malcolm X was done so fucking well by Denzel Washington, I promise you, from 30, 35 years ago, that I cannot. Every time I see somebody else try to play Denzel, it's corny to me. It's too scripted. You're play acting like out on the deck or your porch or your backyard. Like that's how incredible he is, and that to me is what a fucking conqueror does. Okay, because Denzel don't have to go around bragging about himself and his acting. He is true to his craft. Other people do, and other people see you ain't got to go around doing all that. But all I'm saying is Denzel is still fine at 70 and still great at what he does. God bless him. That's all I got to say. He all right with me. Black man married a black woman that had black kids. And been in Hollywood all these years, and that family's still together. Let me tell you something. Denzel, you all right with me. Okay? So I wanted to make sure I put that plug in. So if you get a chance to go, you should go. And if I didn't live in New York City, I probably wouldn't go. But I'm just saying. That's why it's a good city to live in. All right, anyway, despite all our problems. Okay, so I'm just going to address this real quick. It doesn't deserve attention, but it does. Kanye West, who I have been done with for many years, like officially done with, when he made the comment that slavery was a choice, that's some bullshit. Okay? And enough black people didn't leave him alone after that. And yet he still shows up. His career, his albums that come out that people are still buying is why he's arrogant. And I'm not going to even play this game about, mental illness. We know he has bipolar disorder. He's told us. He also told us that he purposely doesn't take his medication and that he doesn't have to while having the money and resources to be able to do that in the first place. When there are millions of people in this country suffering with bipolar disorder who have to start and stop medications because they don't have access to proper health insurance. And a lot of their practitioners are just book-based, are not people that have actually really spent more time in school like they should have and can just have these jobs. And he has access to the best doctors. Fuck him. You get your sorry black ass on Barack Obama's motherfucking internet. And then you have the nerve to talk about Beyonce's kids when you really meant kid, because you had to be talking about her son, sir, and start calling them the R word, then saying that R word kids are a choice. Doesn't that sound familiar? Right. And it's a cry for attention from their camp, because who wouldn't respond about their children? Let me tell y'all something. My issue is, even if Sir does, let's just say he does, we don't know. He could be incredibly shy. And twins are always like that. Rumi, we see dancing around and stuff like that. Twins is always the extreme. One is like outgoing, the other one's usually not. It doesn't matter. Even if he does have a mental disability of any kind, so fucking what? So fucking what? And why would you say something so cruel and so evil and so mean about anybody? That's not fun. The way I was taught, the way I was raised, and the people I've been around, you don't talk about people's kids. Damn sure. There's a reason why old people taught you don't never talk about other people's kids, and you don't make fun of people if you were raised right. You never make fun of people who were slow or had mental challenges. You don't do that. Because let me tell you something, especially for somebody who's admitted, never mind, Let me tell you something. You still young enough in your life that life can fuck you over and happen to you too. You better be careful. You better be. So my thing is, everybody's like, oh, well, why is she always hiding him? When she had Blue out because she's her mother and the paparazzi was following her, y'all were talking about, oh, her baby's hair is nappy. It ain't combed. Why is her hair? What are you supposed to? What the fuck? Her mother is a hairstylist. Black baby's hair looks like that all the time. What's she supposed to do? Press it, relax it, let that baby be. She has been getting unnecessary criticism since the day she was fucking born. All because of who she was born to. So what if Beyonce wants to keep her son in private for whatever reason? It's really none of our fucking business. And if that is why, it's even more reason to shut the fuck up until she gets ready to talk about it. That's her son. Her job is to protect him. Period. And then if she did have him out here, y'all would be like, well, what did you expect? You know how people do. You know how they did your daughter when she was just dancing with you at 11 years old, and you have grown ass broke people who should be looking for another source of income on the internet talking about an 11-year-old child and comparing them to somebody who's a living legend. She can't win with y'all. And for a black man to get up there and do that to another black man, all that bullshit, now we know he's full of shit, okay? But for him to do that to another black child, fuck you. Oh, because your children are superior. Why? Because they have white genetics. I don't give a fuck about them being from our media. They are white for all intents and purposes in this country. That's why they do the racist shit they did. So your children are genetically superior. You low down, dirty son of a bitch. And let me tell you something. People are benefiting from his crazy. Because if you think for a second the Jewish community would not have canceled him, destroyed him, and ruined everything for him saying those kind of things about Jewish people, if there wasn't something they were going to extract from him, you crazy. Because we know they don't play that shit. Especially a black person. Your day has gotten here, but your day's been coming. That shit is not acceptable. I'm not laughing. I don't think it's funny. And the only reason why I'm addressing it is because my thing is anybody who struggles with a mental disability, anybody who has been related to somebody with a mental child, especially growing up, knows how painful it is, how hurtful it is, how much of a struggle it is. I have two cousins with autism. And autism, one of my much older than me, before they even had a name for that kind of thing. And it's hurtful to see the way people treat them. You think Beyonce is that aloof from the world? And we don't know if it's true. And even if it is, so what? That's the reason for you to be cruel? Fuck you. Fuck you. And God don't, I don't want to mess it up, but because now I'm saying all those curse words. But no, I don't think, Lord forgive me, God plays about children. And it's in the Bible. You better watch yourself. Next, Jonathan Majors and Megan Good got married. Now, I have said time and time again, and this song I really ain't gonna get that much attention to. But first of all, this relationship always seemed fake, and it seemed very timely. I don't know if they're both benefiting from this financially. We know Jonathan Majors certainly is. He gets in trouble for abusing a white woman, found guilty, so on and so forth. He's running down the street, says she stole his phone, all this other stuff. Da, 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 da. Jonathan Majors abused that woman. I know what we saw on the tape, and I know abuse victims will often do things that are crazy to the average eye, but not to somebody who has been close to someone who has been physically abused. Okay? And the way he was condescendingly talking to her, just in that first set of audio that we had gotten, do you know who that is? That kind of condescending, intimidating thing. And Grace Jabari, his ex-girlfriend or whatever, first of all, did not speak English well. And I think men like him, one, yes, I do think he has a thing for white women, but also, two, her not being able to speak English well was a way of him also being able to control her. And yes, I do believe he abused her. I don't have all the proof. I know what he was found guilty of, so on and so forth. even though the jury's findings were contradictory. I don't know how he's guilty for something and then kind of not guilty for it. It was weird. Um, he does have a case for an appeal, but I'm not gonna play these games. And him and Megan Good getting married like the day the audio dropped or the day after, in time for him to be on Sherry Shepherd. And I'm just like, the one thing that I've said about Jonathan Majors from the gate, Jonathan Majors to me was meant to be one of the best actors of this generation of millennials. No, I don't think it's Michael B. Jordan, and I don't think if Michael B. Jordan wasn't as fine as he is physically, no, I do not think people would be flocking to see him. I mean, I think his acting is okay, but I mean, like, yeah. But Jonathan Majors, and Jonathan Majors is ugly. So I'm saying this because when I would see him in something, I watch. I watched only if he was in it because he was that kind of an actor that he can literally change the spread of a movie because of his good acting. Like Coleman Domingo. Like Jonathan Majors is up there to me. From Lovecraft Country to Lodi, like in the Marvel Universe, and he's good. He's actually really good. But you don't get to abuse women. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe you do, and get your career back. Remember how quickly Chris Brown to me has never endured what he should have done after beating the fuck out of Rihanna. Her face is all swollen up. And those are just the pictures we saw. That shit had started before. And I'm not going to make excuses for Jonathan Majors. And my issue with Megan Good was the immediacy to which you came and flung by his side. Now, granted, there may have been some overlap between you and Grace Jabari. Whatever, we know how life lives, and you live that Hollywood life. You probably don't have men that, flopped over to, whatever. Megan Good, I think what bothers me most, because I've never been a hardcore Megan Good fan. I don't know nobody that is. But, like she's been in our lives, Cousin Skeeter, since we was kids and stuff. What bothers me is that when I look at it, I am not angry at you. I'm scared for you, Megan Good. Because abusers don't change without significant, and I mean significant. I'm not even talking about therapy. I'm talking about psychoanalysis. Medication, working on and having to prove that. And so when I see you walking with him and talk, and I hope it's just contractual. I hope both of y'all have not only been play acting, but then acting like y'all are together, but really not, because I'm scared for you. Because don't think for a second that Grace Jabari is one thing, and now he's trying to convince us he likes black women by finding a beautiful black woman who has been an actress, in a lot of African American movies and has been in the community, and then we're supposed to applaud it. I'm not jumping on that wagon. I'm not gonna be like, oh, they're together. And Sherry Shepherd is like, oh, I believe in second chances. Second chances, yes, after you have proven that you've done some work to improve. Period. And there's too many other women who don't have the notoriety Megan Good has. And I just think it becomes dangerous to them, and it becomes this way even in the community. And this is not just black people. I'm just making a point because it's us. That's all I mean. When we dismiss that abuse, we only make it safer for them to continue perpetuating. And so even if this is a part, Megan Good, I need you to quit the movie. And that's all I got to say. But I'll talk to y'all soon because Love After Lockup came on last night. Bye.